Good evening, folks. I am not very well prepared for this stream at the moment. But the reason that I decided to throw together this quick stream is to kind of rant about some stupidity that was brought to my attention. I just finished watching a Miss Maskless video where they were basically talking about the 5 states that have banned mask mandates. Oklahoma and 4 others. Don't remember exactly which ones. And they are actually seriously calling it discrimination against disabled people to ban mask mandates. Like, that is not just about the dumbest thing that I, as a disabled person, have ever heard. I don't know about you guys, but I am really getting sick of people who have chronic health issues and disabilities being used as shields and battering rams for this type of bullshit. So we're gonna talk about this today, I guess. Because I guess I have to be the angry cripple that runs my mouth now about this type of bullshit. So here we go. I'm going to start by playing this for you. I forget how to fucking do this. Oh, that helps. That would help a lot, actually. So, just to be clear, this would fall under fair use. It's a commentary, so that the YouTube community knows that. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and make sure that the audio plays out of here as well. Like I said, I'm not particularly prepared for this. I just saw this stupidity and wanted to rant about it, so here I am. We're just gonna fix that real quick. So, I'm not entirely sure which clip this is. I've seen a few of them. I think it's this one. So we're gonna watch this, and we're just gonna kind of go over why this is bullshit and, like, what's wrong with the mentality that exists amongst disabled people these days, especially those who consider themselves disability activists.
Corey, Julie.
So we're going to watch
Oklahoma
this.
is under the microscope this morning. The federal government calling out the Sooner State and 4 others for banning schools from making mask requirements. Now the U.S. Department of Education is launching an investigation.
2 News Oklahoma reporter Brady Halbleib looked into a 4-page letter sent to Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister. He brings us details of the investigation and what it means for Oklahoma. Brady.
Corey, Julie, good morning. Yeah, the state superintendent received that letter yesterday morning. It says the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights is launching an investigation specifically into the law that bans schools from mandating masks for students and staff within school buildings. That law signed by Governor Stitt in May says schools cannot these. In the letter, Acting Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights Suzanne Goldberg writes, national data also shows that children with some underlying medical conditions, including those with certain disabilities, are at a higher risk than other children for experiencing severe illness from COVID-19. Education leaders in Iowa, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah also received a similar letter from the Department of Education, Meanwhile, Communications Director for Governor Stitt, Carly Atchison, responding to the DOE investigation, calling out the Biden administration. She tweeted, President Biden shouldn't spend a single second harassing states like Oklahoma for protecting parents' right to make health decisions for their kids. Now, happening.
Okay, so I'm just gonna explain something to you guys, because there are some people out there who really need to hear this. This is not just about COVID-19. This is about a mentality that a lot of these activists seem to have. What disabled people as a whole need to understand is that the world is not made for them. It is not made for me. Things are going to be different for me than they are for able-bodied people, and that is okay. I do not want other people making health decisions for me or people like me. And I am considered a high-risk patient. Now, I do not necessarily believe that COVID is exactly what they say it is, but I know a lot of people are scared. What those scared people need to understand is that society should not have to bend to your fear. Society should not have to bend to the needs of only a few of its citizens. Making sure that a wheelchair ramp is present in schools and other buildings is very different from forcing other people to wear a mask or get a vaccine because you are uncomfortable. The world cannot bend to us. Every attempt that you make to make the world bend to our needs is only actually making it worse for not only the able-bodied population, but also other disabled people. And I am getting very sick of this mentality of that we need to expect all of society to change for us. Things need to get better. There needs to be better access to jobs, better access to education, better access to medical equipment, better access to a lot of those things. But this is not access. And all of you need to understand that. Any disabled person that might be watching this stream right now needs to understand that. You are not cared about. You are being used as a shield and a battering ram for other people's will and agendas, and this is not a new thing that happens or that has happened with the disabled community. Sorry, I'm trying to find out where I put my water. You cannot. I don't even really know how to explain what is wrong here with this mentality that disabled people tend to have. We do require reasonable accommodations to do our jobs. We do require ramps. We do require all of those things, medical equipment and whatever. But nobody should be requiring anyone to change the way that they live their life for the sake of me or somebody else. I've had a few people approach me before because at my job right now, they know I am against the vax. I am against the mask mandates. I try to be understanding about how people feel about the mask mandates and about how people feel about the vaccine and all that stuff. But the fact is that a lot of these people that are masking or calling for masking or getting the vaccine think that they are helping us, and they are not. They are instead just hiding behind us for their own power trip. That's what maskies do. They hide behind those that are vulnerable, those people that they advocated to be locked in their rooms in the nursing homes, the same people that they advocated for to just I'm sorry. If you were pro lockdown, if you think it's fine to isolate seniors from their families, if you think it's fine to lock disabled people away in their homes because COVID is scary and risky, then you are not helping anyone. You are only here for your own agenda. And it's very clear to me that some people are on the power trip. I don't really even know what I'm ranting about anymore. I'm just so sick of this bullshit, man. I really am. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me when I've pointed out how stupid this whole thing is. Because right now I live in California. So I live in one of those states that is known for a lot of this type of collectivist bullshit. And it is pretty bad out here in some ways. I live in a county that just reimposed mask mandates a few weeks ago, so I've had to go back to muzzling myself to get into stores and stuff. If you think that any of these mandates are helping anyone, then you are just, wrong. You're actually taking away people's power to make their own medical decisions. And eventually, even if you are pro-vax, even if you are pro-mask, which I am not anti either necessarily, but I am against people making that choice for me. That's all I care about, is that people should not be making that choice for me. If you want to wear a face diaper and go get jabbed with a Fauci ouchie, then go be my guest. Whatever. I'm just gonna make sure I'm coming in okay. I don't understand this mentality, dude. I really don't. Anyway, I don't really know what else to say. I'm just entitlement exists in really strange places sometimes. I've seen homeless people act entitled, I've seen disabled people act entitled, and these are the people, some of the most discriminated against people in this country. And they still act like everybody owes them something. I guess everybody owes them something because they feel like they've been so wronged. And that's another problem with mentality, especially in the disabled community. It's not only do they think that everything should be made for us, whoever the us is, but they also think that everybody owes them something because they've been mistreated and discriminated against. And I'm not saying they haven't. I certainly have experienced my share of discrimination, but the entitlement of some people. Sorry, I needed a sip of water. To think that everybody should change their lives. Everybody should change their medical decisions that they're going to make to accommodate somebody with a disability. It doesn't make any sense. The world is not made for us. The world cannot be made for us. We cannot expect the majority of the population to change their entire lifestyle for us as a minority. We are a minority. We are a fairly large minority, and I would argue we're some of the worst treated minority out there. But we are still a minority, and unfortunately that means that not everything is going to accommodate us the way that we want it to. Not that the masks are accommodating anything. That's another thing. Like, they make this all about, like, oh, these poor disabled people, and we need to wear masks to protect them and stuff. Hey, what about people with like, lung problems that'll, like, have all kinds of problems breathing if they have to wear a mask? Do they not count as disabled anymore? Do the 90-year-olds that I see walking around outside when I go downtown wearing fucking masks, do they not count as disabled anymore? Because I guarantee those 90-year-olds would not be looking that sickly if they weren't wearing the masks. Like, I've seen it so many times. I mean, I might be exaggerating the ages a little bit. I don't think I've actually seen a 90-year-old around. I have no idea if I have. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's really crazy. Like, where I live right now, with the mask mandate, people walk around outside in the hot summer in masks. They walk around in masks all day long, some of them. And I just don't get it. I really struggle with this whole mask and vaccine thing, not just because, like, you know, of the whole taking away of the rights thing, but just because of, like, how disturbing it is that people that are trying to take away my right to breathe freely, your right to breathe freely, your right to choose what vaccines you want, and stuff like that. People that are trying to take that away are the people that are claiming to be the compassionate ones, to be the ones that are being discriminated against and wronged. And it's just a classic abusive tactic. The classic narcissistic abuser is going to convince you, or try to convince you, that you are doing the things that they are doing. It is not you, it is them. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that fall into that gaslighting, and now we're living it on a large scale. Like, we are literally living in a large scale abusive relationship where the media is telling anti-maskers, or I guess people that don't want to wear masks, like me, I don't care if other people do. I just don't think you should be able to make that decision for me. But we're living a classic cycle of abuse. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the tactics that hey, Awaken Truth, how you doing, bud? It's been a while since I seen you. I'm just having a little bit of a rant, man, like, about people that are claiming to care about people with disabilities and using it to force mask mandates and other things that are actually harming not only people with disabilities, but everybody else, pretty much. So yeah, we're living a classic cycle of abuse. And one of the common tactics that I'm seeing a lot with the media is something called DARVO. It stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse, Victim, and Offender. So essentially what that means is the media or the politicians or whoever it is that's doing this, and a lot of them are using that tactic, will talk about how psychopathic people that don't want to wear the mask are. They're psychopathic, they're selfish, they're evil, they're whatever. Meanwhile, they are the same people that are trying to make medical decisions for the entire population. They want control, and when you do not give them control, when you tell an abuser no, that's the first thing they do, is they call you selfish. They make you feel like you are the evil one when you're not. The scary thing is that it's already starting to become where it's not just the masks anymore. It's now the vaccine. I've already been seeing events and things pop up. Now, I got a new job recently. For those of you who don't know, it's at a resource center, and I was going to go to this training seminar that was going to be good for people that work at these types of resource centers. So I was looking at the paperwork, and right at the bottom of that paperwork, it says, must be vaccinated to attend and have proof of vaccine. You're starting to see that kind of dripping into the healthcare system a lot. Like, you're starting to, because I think technically the resource center, my job is not a healthcare job, but I think the resource center itself is considered a like healthcare type of place. So you're seeing a lot of these different things that you would attend if you were working one of the other types of jobs at the resource center, where you're starting to see people like, vaccination like mandates and stuff to attend events that you would actually need to help with your job or advance your job. So it's really getting scary. People have complied with the masks. I don't know. I've seen a lot of different things lately. I've seen people say that there aren't a lot of people who are really willing to take the vaccine, and then you have the news telling you are, and then you have the people that I call the vaccine ambassadors that are always around telling me, why don't you get the vaccine? You need to get the vaccine. It'll protect you. It'll protect me. And yes, it really does awaken truth. It really does suck that what the world is coming to. It's sometimes I really don't know what to make of it. Like, do you? Like, what do you do when you're literally watching history, the same history that you read in the history books as a kid, that you hoped and prayed wouldn't happen again, is now happening right in front of you? This whole like tyrannical communist takeover is happening in front of you, and it's in the name of health and safety. I don't remember which founding father said this, but those who are willing to give up freedom for security deserve neither, and they will get neither. You don't feel any more secure after you get the vaccine. Actually, I was reading something before, like it was like some kind of study or something. I'm gonna have to find it. But there's actually a study that says people that get vaccinated are actually still more afraid of the virus than those who have not yet gotten vaccinated. So what does that tell you? They're never ever going to let people let go of this fear. Yeah, dude, it really is crazy. Like, I don't know sometimes. I don't know why. I don't know how people have managed to go a year and a half. Like, I was hoping maybe it would last a couple weeks before they told the government people started telling the government to fuck off. I was hoping that like it just wouldn't last, and people are just complying. Like, what do you do? And I'll tell you an interesting story. For those of you who don't know, I have been kind of bouncing around different places right now. I don't have a stable place to live at the moment. I was supposed to go to a different shelter this week, which I actually don't mind it here. This is nice. I'm on a voucher, so I have a room to myself. It's pretty nice, but the reason that they are having a tough time placing me in shelter is because I don't want to get the vaccine, and they really want me to get the vaccine. So this is something that's also happening. for those who are homeless or not able to find stable shelter at the moment, there is a lot of pressure to get the vaccine so that they can keep their resources. They can go to their resource centers, they can go to their shelters and stuff. That's what they're doing to people now. They are taking people who are in desperate need of things, and they are trying to force them to take the vaccine and to comply with all the COVID rules. Like, another reason that they were giving me a tough time about the shelter thing was because I was not comfortable wearing a mask in communal areas of the place that I was like gonna go live in. Imagine having to live in your mask every time you're around other people that are in the shelter with you. You would have to wear your mask and social distance. So they're forcing this on people that are just in desperate need, people that are trying to get their life together. Yep. So, Awaken Truth said apparently there is a new COVID variant called MU. I did not know that. If there actually is that, I believe you, dude, because they like talk about a new variant every fucking day, basically. But, Jesus Christ, man. The Delta variant, the fucking, like, they have, like, how many different variants out there? Are you even able to keep track of them, Awaken Truth? Because I can't. I don't get it. Yeah, what is there to even say about these fucking variants, too, man? Like, there's a new one every single day, and people are just, people will literally. My boss, as much as I love my boss at my new job, I really do, but she buys into this COVID stuff so hard. So, like, every time she hears something from the CDC or something, she starts freaking out about, oh, the death rates are going to go up. Oh, the transmission rates are going to go up. You need to mask better. You need to social distance more. You need to stay outside. Don't go in the building if you're going to not wear a mask or whatever. I mean, the poor lady is just scared. And she's a really smart lady, too, so that's pretty confusing sometimes. I think that's the other thing, is the more I think about it, the less I think whether or not somebody believing in COVID is actually necessarily a sign of intelligence or lack thereof. Because I think a lot of people are just so, they've been so gaslit and scared that their mental state has been weakened to a point where it's just pliable. So if the news shows up tomorrow and start talking about the COVID 2021 that killed almost everybody in some random place on the planet, they're going to believe that. Or at least a lot of them are. Jesus Christ, Awaken Truth. 13 fucking variants? Like, really? And yeah, people are controlled by fear. It's quite a... Fear is the most basic and easy but effective means of control. Like, man, I did not drop that. That's the thing, man. I don't really understand why. I don't understand what's going on, necessarily. But what I do know is that there are a lot of people that are incredibly controlled by their emotions. And the main, like right now there are. And the main one is the fear of loss, the fear of death for themselves. Like, the fear of, if I visit grandma in a nursing home and I hug her, she's going to die of COVID-19. And that's really sad. Because now you have a bunch of people that are controlled by fear, that are literally inducing fear and pain and suffering in other people with no real regard or understanding for that. So there's this whole thing, like this whole complicated emotional landscape that we probably need to figure out much more if we're going to wake people up. Actually, in some ways, I think that is a problem with the truth community, is that we tend to try to appeal to the logical side of humans, but generally speaking, humans are not logical, or at least not as logical as we like to think we are. Emotions do play a large role in decision making. And so, unfortunately, our rulers know how to use those emotions for that. I'm sorry, I should stop playing with this thing. So I hate to say it sometimes, man, but I really feel like we probably do need to appeal to the emotional side of things a bit more sometimes. Because you're right, they are controlled by fear. They are controlled by emotion in general for the most part. Actually, logic does not play nearly as large a role in the average person's decision making as we like to say it does, or as we like to think it does. And now you also have, like, there's also a lot of preying on people's pity, like what I was saying earlier about how people are, disabled people, your grandma, and all these quote unquote vulnerable people, whatever, are being used as a shield to bring a lot of the bullshit in. Like how I played the video for you about how now the federal government is saying that it's discrimination against people with disabilities to not wear a mask everywhere you go. It's quite confusing. Anyway, it's getting pretty late here. I'm not exactly sure what the point of this stream was, other than to just rant about the freaking bullshit mentality that exists in a lot of people these days, and especially these disability activist type people, like, that are saying that everybody else, disabled or not, has to change their lifestyle to accommodate them. When part of having a disability is trying to learn to adapt and grow and master doing things your own way. That is actually the fortunate part of the disability in a way, because the disability forces you to think outside the box in order to do things. Although a lot of people don't seem to see the value in that the way I do. I don't know. I'm probably gonna do more stuff about this, but in the meantime, I'm gonna probably head to bed. I don't know if I'll keep the stream up, but I'm going to go to bed for the time being. You guys have a wonderful night.